everyone, it's Delaney and I'm back with another art project for you this week. This week we're going to be making coffee filter prints, and in the end they'll look something like this. Your design will be different, but you get the point. So what you're going to need is a coffee filter, which is like very thin, papery. You'll need a piece of white paper. You'll need some markers, a paintbrush, and a cup of water. And I also recommend getting some paper towels because when you're using the water, you don't want all the color to bleed on your table. So gather all your materials and we'll get started. Alright, so let's get started. So the first thing that you're going to need is a white piece of paper. You're going to be holding it long ways, but you can hold it however way you want, really. You'll also need a coffee filter. Just one should be fine, but you can use multiple ones if you're making multiple projects. I recommend getting some paper towels just to put underneath the coffee filter and the paper as you're working on it, because when we use the water, all the color will seep through and you don't want that on your table. You also need markers. They could be any colors that you like. And then you'll also need a paintbrush, and then here I have a mug of water. You just need regular water, and we'll set that to the side because we won't need that until the very end. So our first step in this process is to decorate the coffee filter. Now you can get really creative with this. There's no right or wrong way to do it, but I recommend just coloring it on the paper towel so that any color that bleeds through will just bleed through onto the paper towel rather than onto your table. So you just want to smooth out the coffee filter, get it as flat as you can, and then take your markers and then draw any kind of design that you like in the center and just around the entire coffee filter. You can choose whatever design you like. I'm going to be drawing a rainbow design starting from the center and going out, but you can make yours look like a planet or a flower or just some cool design that you think up. It's whatever you like to do, so I'm going to speed this part up, but feel free to pause and take your time in designing your coffee filter and then unpause when you're ready to move on to the next step. Alright, and so I finished my design. As you can see, this is how it looks. I've got it all filled out so there are no white spots left. It's not completely colored in, or it's not the best job, but the water will help with that. As you can see, it helped that I did this on the paper towel because the coffee filter is very thin. So, alright, so now we're going to take our white piece of paper and then lay our coffee filter on top of that, again on top of the paper towel. And what we're going to do is take our paintbrush and our water, and we're going to lightly brush some water onto the coffee filter so that all of the color bleeds onto the paper. So you're just going to take a little bit of water, and then you could start from the center or start from the edges, and you're just going to gently either like blot the water on or spread it around. You could use your hands too if you want to press the coffee filter down, but you're just going to take the water and you're going to go over the entire coffee filter so that you get all the colors running onto the paper. I'm again going to speed this part up too, but be sure that you put water all over the coffee filter, just brushing it on so that all the colors blend together, and then unpause when you're ready to move on. Alright, and so now that I've put water on all of the coffee filter, it should stick pretty well, so much so that I can lift the paper and the coffee filter won't slide off. And you can see I've got all my colors blended together, and you can see how the paper towel was helpful in catching all the bleeding colors. And so now if you want, you can either just peel this directly off, which is the next step, but I'm just going to press mine down and make sure all the color gets in. You may get a little bit of color on your hands, but that's okay, as long as you use washable markers. You can take the paintbrush, do some last touch-ups with the water, just to make sure you get all the places all covered up. But once you have that all done, and you do all your last finishing touches, our next step is just going to be to peel the coffee filter off of the paper to reveal the print that was left on the paper. So you just want to find an end of the coffee filter and just lift it gently, and you'll see that your design is now printed onto the paper. And you can either throw out the coffee filter or you can wait for it to dry, so I'm just going to leave it on the paper towel. It also kind of shows a cool design even when it's just the coffee filter, so that's kind of cool to have around as well. It's almost like a separate additional project. But you can see that the paper is kind of wet, so you want to leave it to dry. I'm just holding it up just to show you a glimpse of the finished project, but you see I've got the print there. And I'm just going to leave this out to dry for maybe a couple hours. And other than that, you have a completed coffee filter print project. Alright, and we're done. As you can see, this is how mine turned out. I did a rainbow pattern on mine, but yours may look different depending on the design that you chose to do. So if you need to, go ahead and rewind the video if you need to rewatch steps. And as always, be sure to post pictures of your finished projects into the art folder because I'm really interested to see what designs you guys chose for your prints. So I'll see you next week with another project. Bye.